She doesn't have a release signed, so yeah.
There we go. All right, so I'm just going to share a little bit with you about poverty, specifically in the Summitville area. And as Wendy shared, as we discussed things that I could hit on this semester with you guys, obviously not being in the building is a challenge, but some things that maybe, it would be good to sit down and read Ruby Payne's Framework for Understanding Poverty, because she has a new version. There's all kinds of other resources out there, but realistically, when are we supposed to do that? So I did it. I flipped through the new version of it, read the different strategies. A lot of it, I remember from doing my undergrad at Ball State, is the same as the older version was. There's just been some updated statistics and so on and so forth. But the reason this is important for you guys is because, as she stated, the Summitville area does have a low SES, and it's growing. So I've got some historical data here that you can see, 5 years ago, where were we? So how many of you teachers have been here 5 years, right? So the makeup of students that you had 5 years ago is not the same as what you're seeing today. And obviously, a lot of us came from probably middle-class families. Most teachers are middle class is what we're classified as according to Ruby Payne. So those are the social norms and whatnot that we think about on a daily basis. So, got a little teaser here for you. And when I watch this, oh no.
There you go.
There we go.
You can go back.
Back. Okay, use one of these things today. Okay, so we're just gonna watch the first couple minutes of this. It kind of, as a parent myself.
Yeah.
Okay, as a parent myself, it kind of pulled at my heartstrings. I was watching it.
You might have to do volume up there.
I remember this from the speakers, the computer speakers back there.
I think they are. They are.
Yeah.
Try again. I turned this up. They're on, but I've got them turned up.
That's how, or the computers.
You've seen me.
Yeah.
I'm the girl who sits and holds my new baby sister. Only Mom.
Let me start it over.
I know you've seen me. 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 I'm the girl who sits and holds my new baby sister. Only Mom makes a million phone calls, trying to find us a place to stay.
I know you've seen me. I'm that kid sitting at the bus stop with his mom, when I ought to be home in bed.
I know you've seen me. I'm the girl sitting in the laundromat, watching the clothes go round and round and round and round and round.
I know you've seen me. I'm the boy trying to get sleep in a van, only my stomach's rumbling too loud. I'm the kid who gets off the school bus outside a motel instead of a house. I'm the little girl with the gigantic backpack.
I'm the kid doing homework under the dome light in the car.
I'm the little boy curled up on a short couch. I'm the kid who's alone on the playground. No one knows me because I miss so much school.
I'm the kid who looks cold, tired, hungry, dirty, embarrassed, scared. I'm the kid who never knows what will happen next.
Wake up, everybody.
Okay, you want to escape out of that? Okay, so when I watched that, I thought about how many kids do we have come into our classrooms every day that are going through those things when they leave our doors, and we don't know. Okay, think about the kid who doesn't come to school all the time. We might get frustrated easily as a teacher because they're not here. And then I know at the high school level, they're not here for a week at a time sometimes, and then they come back and they want all their makeup work, but then it doesn't get done because they go home and they have other commitments that they have to do. How many kids don't get dinner when they go home? How many kids are doing homework and don't lie in the car? And we expect them to add 2 + 2. They've got other things to worry about in their lives. So just some things to think about, and that kind of really got my gears thinking. I know you see me. How often do we see those kids? And we even driving through town, how often do you see those kids? Or driving through Anderson or Muncie, how often do you see those kids? So just something to think about. All right, so what's the issue at Summitville? Here's some historical data for you. In the 2013-2014 school year, you were at 32.7% free and reduced lunch. You can see the increase go from there. So right now we're sitting at, she said, about 56% this year. So that's almost a little bit over a 20% increase in the last 5 to 6 years that you've seen here just in Summitville. And there's multiple reasons for that, but that's kind of shocking. That's a huge jump in the caliber of kids and the home life of the kids that you have in your classroom today compared to 5 years ago. So I know it's been a while since you guys have done the Ruby Payne stuff, but just to think about why is this important? You're like, okay, why are you telling me this? I'm teaching at Summitville Elementary. We're a pretty middle class school. This isn't IPS. This isn't downtown Indy. This isn't, we're not teaching in a high poverty area, but it's quickly becoming that. So these are just some things that we need to think about as educators. Okay, so free and reduced lunch guidelines. So what exactly does that mean? And I realize this is hard to read, but if you're looking at free meals, free and reduced lunch, for a family of 4, we'll say, yearly income, you're looking at $31,525, okay? And you think about how that sounds like a decent year's wages, but when you factor in how much do you have to pay for housing, how much do you have to pay for groceries, how much are your utilities every month? When I think about, could I pay my bills on $31,000 a year as a single parent if I had, multiple kids? Fortunately, I have a husband to help contribute to that, and I make more than that, but how many people don't? You got to think about that, right? Think about $31,000 a year. So, family, you can see it increases up here to a family of 8, but think about a single mom, okay? One parent, single parent. She has to provide for her family. She has to buy food. She has to buy school supplies. She has to pay for childcare so she can work. And we all know how expensive childcare is if you guys have kids. So think about that, and you're looking at $15,000 a year. Okay, for a household size of 1, that's $15,000 a year. That's one person. So if you figure a single mom who has 2 kids, you're looking at 3 people, and if you've got one income of $26,000, that's not a lot of money to survive on in a year. So that's kind of the federal government's guidelines. So that way you have a frame of reference in your mind when you're thinking about those kids that are low SES backgrounds, where they're coming from. Okay, so what is poverty? So if you've read Ruby Payne's Framework for Understanding Poverty, it's not just money. When we think of poverty, we tend to think of money situations. You're looking at financial, you're looking at emotional. So kids can be wealthy, they can have money, but they can be poor in other areas. So you also have to think about emotional poverty. So how can a student be emotionally impoverished? How can that affect them? Maybe they're being mentally abused at home. Maybe they're depressed. Those types of things contribute to poverty. Mental and cognitive, so thought processes, okay? Spiritual, future story. It's not just being religious, it's believing that you have a future, okay? Believing that you can attain something. I recently talked with my French kids about Haiti, and we watched an interview with a little girl from Haiti, and they asked her what her dream was. What's your dream when you grow up? And she said, to be a maid and have 1 kid. And they said, why do you only want to have 1 kid? And she said, because I know I can't afford to. And to me, that that really kind of hit home, to know at 7 that there's no way you can ever have more than 1 kid because you're not going to be able to afford them. So that's having a future story. Language and formal register is probably what you guys see the most as classroom teachers. Students traditionally from low SES backgrounds do not understand the difference between informal and formal register. And we expect them to speak and to write and to read in formal register when they don't get that at home. So they don't know what that is. So as elementary teachers especially, teaching them, what is the formal register and giving them the capability to do that. Physical, so you can be physically impoverished, and that's not just your body. That could be where you live. Okay, it can be your location. One of the examples Ruby Payne gave was how do these all tie together. One of them is there's a single mom, her husband died, she has to work, but her daughter got asked to be in this enrichment program after school, and if she puts her daughter in the program, then she can't work as late because they have 1 car and they live too far from the school. So that's how, it affects her. It's kind of like it just keeps going and going. So support systems. A lot of times people can be impoverished because they don't have support systems. They don't have grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles, and they don't have family that they can rely on or friends that they can rely on to help them with their kids, to help them raise kids, help with homework, do those types of things. And then knowledge of norms, which is another one that we see a lot as educators. Just knowing. You grow up in a middle-class family, or an upper class family or a lower class family, knowing your norms, what's expected of you. One of them that Ruby Payne discusses a lot is the violence. So you're more likely to be in fights and to experience violence if you live in a poverty situation. And the reason is they say because a lot of times middle class people or upper class people, when you get into a conflict with somebody, you have space. You have a place to go to get away from them. And oftentimes in a poverty situation, when you've got multiple people living in one area and it's very crowded, then they don't have anywhere to go to deal with that conflict. So a lot of times it results in violence. So I thought that, to me, being raised a middle class citizen, I thought that was interesting to think about. So, the impact of poverty. How can this affect student engagement? Your students come in and they come from poverty situations and they're less likely to be engaged for multiple reasons. Okay, they might smell funny, they might have dirty shoes, they might have dirty clothes, and maybe the kids in the class, they kind of feel like they're pushed out. Okay, maybe they're not at school a lot for multiple reasons, so that could lead to a lack of student engagement. Mobility. So once again, that is the coming to after school things, coming to extracurricular activities, getting to school on time, okay? Being picked up from school on time. Language and vocabulary acquisition. We all know this probably as parents. The more you expose your kids to, the higher level of vocabulary and language acquisition they're going to have, okay? As a foreign language teacher, exposing my kids who are 4 and 1.5 to the French language, I have a 4-year-old who hears a language and says, "Mom, that's French." He doesn't speak it, but he can recognize it. And he could switch his toys into French, and he's like, "Look, it's speaking French." He realizes that because I've given them the resources to do that. And traditionally, we have kids at the high school, and I'm sure you have kids here that have never been to Indianapolis. They've never been to Muncie. And think about how often we, go to Target every week to buy our diapers or whatever. And they've never been to those places. And so I've taken kids on field trips before that have said, "I've never been here. This is Indianapolis." We're like driving through. "I've never been here before. I've never seen this stuff." So to kind of think about that, because how often do we do it? We go on vacations and do things. And sometimes they just don't get exposed to those things, so they don't have that experience that they can bring into the classroom. Routine and homework. A lot of times in a poverty situation, you have kids who are going home and they don't have a structured routine. They don't have a quiet place to sit and do homework, where they have light, or they don't have the resources. They don't have pens and pencils, those types of things to find to do their homework. And then obviously health and well-being. So you've got, your all around, are they a happy child? What are they dealing with when they leave your classroom? What are they going home to every day? We don't know. So how can we take this information and think about what we're doing in our classroom? I'm going to have you guys divide up. There's papers in front of you, so you can just work with those around you. So if you're not around a paper, you want to get around one. There are 5 strategies to overcome poverty. This information is put out by, actually, the U.S. Department of Education. So they've come up with these 5 approaches. You've got the strengths perspective approach, the resiliency theory, asset theory, social capital theory, and it's the faulty attribution theory. So, strengths perspective approach, they describe it as every individual has strengths. You can empower students and families by focusing on what is good about them, what they do know, and what skills they have now. Resiliency theory, people can develop resiliency when they are surrounded by others who tell them what is good about them. The asset theory, the more assets a student has, both internal and external, the more likely they will succeed. Social capital theory, people increase their chances for success when they know the right people and have meaningful connections with those who can help. People in poverty greatly benefit from having trusting relationships with people who have benefited from education. And the faulty attribution theory, when we attribute motives to someone else's behavior without discovering the why behind their actions. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is just, if you guys will take 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to give you guys about 5-7 minutes to think about what would that look like in your classroom. So I'll pass these papers around so you have a reference. So if I'm using the strengths perspective approach, what are some things that I could do in my classroom to help kids who are in a poverty situation to overcome that? Yeah, little note papers.
All right.
might want to write. You may not be able to read my writing.
Yep. So think about how can I incorporate this in my classroom? What are some ideas? What are some things I could do with students? I have some like brainstormed ideas that were previously done if you're having a hard time getting started. Yep. So first one, second, third, fourth, fifth. So then we'll share.
You're 3, 4. Yes. Do they know they're 5? Yes, they do know that. Okay. So you just have to brainstorm the one.
Sorry.
I can always edit it if it's.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So what skills they do well? Yeah. Right? Yeah, each of them had a paper on their back. Okay. And they were positive thing about the person, right? Yeah. They got to take off, they got to read the subject, they had this whole list. I know that it's well, even my
So,
about like using it on back to the whiteboard.
are we doing all of
Right?
these?
No, just yours.
Oh, ours is well,
Comment,
I'm
actually,
pretty
some of
full.
your training about them.
And then we'll share. That's why I give you guys this list.
I'm sorry. I was reading number 1. I thought we were doing all of them. Everybody was getting better. Yeah. Shoot.
Special.
Spell check. Spell check. Spell check. Spell check. It tells me if it's a frame.
Supporting each other.
Or if that is a skill they have,
We're using classes to review sometimes they come to other classes. Or don't use. Here.
so, okay, the more likely they
So we promote, talk to, even if I could go planters from both sides. That's hard. So
What they did
they have
right,
chances to get to know
you
each
know,
other.
try to stick out, on the right track here, however, and
relationships with people who have benefited from education. We have that it's a relationship with our kids, personal relationship. Hey, listen over here cheating. Copy. That's exactly what they say in the jump rope. Mr. Fox, I'm using our trick over here. Didn't I just say student or teacher-student relationship? She turned around and said, I'm telling you, what's meaning?
What if he, like, students?
We wouldn't got that one too. Are you doing number 4? Okay.
If you guys get to a good stopping point, we're going to go ahead and share these out. So the first theory, you have the strengths perspective approach. Do you guys want to share with us what strategies you thought of? If you guys think of good ones too, that's why I gave you this paper. You can jot some down there to kind of take back to your classroom.
Okay, so things we came up with. First and foremost, just tell students what they do well. So really highlight what they're good at. We said we could have a student lead a subject that they're doing well in, or have a student be a group leader in group projects. Notes and calls home, highlighting what went well with students. And then trying to have maybe families come in and share talents or skills that they might have, and then really celebrating achievements.
Build some confidence.
Yep.
Okay, number 2, the resiliency theory.
So we came up with one thing that we already do is like student of the week, and then several of us in our classrooms, we celebrate that, during our morning meetings or during a special conversation about that student and kind of share how the other students see them through their eyes. Kind of feeding off of them, peer helper, peer tutor, leading groups, bucket filling. That's something that we kind of address with the smaller kids, just making sure that all of our comments are positive. Team building within our classroom, teacher modeling positive behavior, positive conversations, positive comments, celebrating small successes, focusing on the positive and not always the negative. So if they've done poorly on a math assignment, what can you point out that they did well? And then equal expectations.
Awesome. Okay, number 3, the asset theory.
We had problem-solving activities, having classroom jobs, ownership in the classroom, so their lockers, mailbox, book boxes, even their desk. They could be a mentor to others. We have student rewards, certificates, celebrations, and then teacher-to-student relationships, student-to-student relationships, and student-to-teacher relationships.
So building that relationship, teaching them how to be responsible and how to take care of things and each other. It's important. Well, my husband just got off work, so that's just daily phone call. Okay, number 4.
We had promoting friendships in class, student to student, utilizing cadets from the high school, using peer students from older grades to come down to younger grades, volunteers in the classroom, and then teacher-student relationships.
Awesome. Okay, and number 5, you guys had the faulty attribution theory.
We have talk with students and make it a routine talk, so the students will be more comfortable, you'll be more approachable to them. Also talk with parents and utilize your school resources and your community resources, such as your social worker, any medical or mental services too that may come into your building.
Awesome. Okay, good. I will take these and hang these up when we get done here. So I gave you guys the paper. If you guys have any good ideas that you can jot down, that you heard from the other groups that you can take back to your classroom, that is what that is for. So, key points to remember. So some of you guys on these things, I also discussed, we are considered middle class. So if you look at statistics, if you look at what Ruby Payne says in her framework for understanding poverty, teachers are classified as middle class citizens. Whether that means your middle class pay scale, you have middle class norms, you function by middle class norms. So the way you think, the way you're geared to think, the way you do your daily routines are typical things that are associated with the middle class. Okay, so you think through conflict, the way you organize, the way you do things, you're positive, you think that you can do it, you attack things, you make a to-do list and you do it, you don't just give up easily. So teachers are middle class. So also understand the hidden rules. So in each societal class there are hidden rules. There are rules that we don't think about every day that maybe a student from a poverty situation doesn't understand. Okay? Or vice versa. They have rules that we don't understand. Okay? One of the biggest things Ruby Payne talks about is when a poverty family gets a bunch of money, a pot of money, you share it. Okay? How many of you guys want to share your money? Like, oh, I got $20 extra this week. Oh, I'm buying dinner for everybody. Polar pots all around, right? No. Nobody wants to do that. So, a middle class norm is that we keep our money. Okay, we work hard for our money, we keep our money. Lower class norm is that they share their money because the next time you ask somebody for money, if you didn't share with them, they might not share with you. That's why. Okay? So, that is one of their hidden rules in their society that we might not recognize. So, also, be a good role model and mentor. So, if you've got a kid that you think, obviously talking with them, helping connect resources, helping connect with parents to get them resources. Some of that is done, through Mrs. Holt or through Mrs. Smedley. But reaching out to families and saying, hey, I noticed this. Is there any way we can do this? And I know sometimes elementary kids tell you more than high school kids do, but every once in a while you get a secondary and older student to open up to you, and they'll tell you some things that can really blow your mind. Also, boost engagement. So I know that we already do as much as we can to keep our students engaged in class, but really reach out to the kid that maybe you realize he's not doing 100%, or everybody moves to their partners or moves to a group, and he's kind of always the one who's walking behind. Send somebody to work with them, assign somebody to work with them. Go over and talk to them and say, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? Take the time to recognize those differences and to make those kids feel empowered and feel good, and point out the positives. And also, one thing is to build working memory. So according to statistics with poverty students, they perform better on any kind of exam, any kind of academic test, ISTEP, state things, if they have a good working memory. And one of the issues with students who live in a poverty situation is that working memory is not activated enough for them to think. So working memory is what you can recall off the top of your head. You say, what color is this? Blue, purple, red. Okay? How do I open a book? Kindergarten teachers, preschool, right? Do I open it the right way? Do I open it this way? Is it upside down? Can I identify which way, what direction is text supposed to go? Those are all working memory things that can help students that sometimes students who are from poverty situations don't get. Okay, they don't get access to some of those, flashcards and colors and books and those types of things. So as much as you can, work with those students to build their working memory so that when they take an exam, they're going to remember, oh, that's a multiplication problem. Oh, that's an addition sign. Oh, that's, they're going to remember, oh, that's dialogue. Okay, they're looking for quotation marks. Can I find the subject of the sentence here? What's my adjective? Those types of things can really help in your classroom. So, to leave you, I have a quote that I found. Your students' life experiences are a rich source of background knowledge and potential narrative strategy for you to tap in your classroom. So every student's coming from a different home life. They're coming from a different background. Some of them are better than others. But they are a rich source for you to tap into. You can learn a lot from them, just as much as they learn from you. And sometimes as teachers, we get really overwhelmed with, data and this and that, and, Johnny's not at school today. Why isn't he at school? And then he comes to school and he acts up. Well, what's going on, right? Let's take a step back and think about what's going on. What kind of a family does he come from? What could be the problems? How can I help? Okay, how can I help make this, a good place for him? Maybe it's keeping a granola bar on your desk because he's hungry. Okay, doesn't get breakfast before school and he can't get here in time to get breakfast at school. So maybe it's, okay, let's calm down because this. Maybe, nobody's home in the morning to help him get ready. Maybe, mom and dad's gone all the time and big brother's taking care of his high school kid taking care of him. And I know for a fact there are high school kids that take care of their little brothers and sisters that you guys see every day. So you got to think about, you can learn from them just as much as they can learn from you. And I'm out of time, but I have a very good TED Talk. I'll share this presentation with you. And he's talking about the difference, what's going on in today's schools, and how the way schools were designed 10 years ago and the way we did things 10 years ago needs to change, because America is not just this area, it's across the United States. The SES, the people who are on free and reduced lunch just keeps increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. And what can we do as educators to kind of step back and rethink the way we approach poverty in our classrooms? So I will share this with you, and you can watch this on your own time, but it's a great TED Talk. If you have 10 minutes to sit and watch it, or you're interested, it's fabulous. Do you guys have any questions? Last minute things? No? Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, so she shared